Community Corrections Partnership meeting today. It's a special meeting today here on November the 13th. I want to say thank you to our executive committee members of the CCP for being here on this early morning on today. We have a short agenda today, but looking forward to the discussion and for your participation. Just for the record, Donna Nino, our court executive officer, is not here today. I don't believe that she was going to have a chance to call in, but we certainly will, go ahead and move forward. And we're prepared to go ahead and call our meeting to order this morning. One thing I want to remind everybody is to please speak clearly into the microphone as you have anything to add or to say this morning. Yeah, so make sure that you all have a mic in front of you this morning. And also, if you do want to speak, make sure you see the green light. When you don't, make sure that you have that green light off. Just for some housekeeping things, the Community Corrections Partnership welcomes you to this meeting and encourages your participation. The agenda contains a brief general description of each item to be considered. The chair will call for public comment as each item is heard for those who are present in the meeting and wish to speak to an individual item. If you wish to speak on a matter which does not appear in the agenda, you may do so during the public comment period. And today, Crystal, this is not being aired virtually today? It is being, okay, thank you. So we are airing the meeting virtually this morning. And it may be those who are in the public, as a courtesy, the CCP meeting is available by the public via link that was on the CCP agenda on the probation's website. However, there will be no ability to make any public comment via the virtual means this morning. So I wanted to get that out of the way. And we're going to move forward to our next subject, which is to receive a presentation and approve funding requests for 200 West Pontiac project. And coming forward, we have our County Operating Officer, Ed Hill, and our Administrative Services Deputy Chief for Probation, Yusel Zalapa.
Morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, members of the CCP, are you commissioners? Sorry, CCP members. Ed Hill, Chief Operating Officer for the County of Fresno, here to talk to you today about 200 West Pontiac Way. 200 West Pontiac Way is the old Pelco building where they designed and built manufactured security cameras. It's a large facility that has both office space and warehouse space. There's a 534,000 square feet total space, 37,282 square feet of office space, and 65,252,000 square feet of warehouse space. The warehouse space we'll get into a little bit later on, but that's where there's a plan to build out there for probation units. Yusel will dip into which units will be housed there if we're successful. Just by way of locating it on a map, it's the area that's outlined in the blue square there. Our ISD department is just to the northwest of it, and the Department of Social Services is to the direct north of that across the lot there as well. So currently the property is being leased.
Crystal, can you get the lights just so that we can see a little bit better? Thank you. Sorry, thank you.
Currently the property is being leased by the county. We have the option to purchase it by January 2024, which is why we have the accelerated timeline. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for holding this special meeting for this topic as well, because our goal is to get this to the Board of Supervisors for consideration and purchased on the. All the space is currently available, and then there's quite a bit of need at probation at this time. Again, Yusel will get into the exact departments that will be moving there. If you want to go ahead and advance. So the purchase price is $15,730,000. Currently, we have two funding sources. That's Prop 172 and then Local Assistant Fund, which we're going to use to purchase a chunk of the department that will operate as the EOC. And when there are not events actually happening, it'll be a training room used by probation. So it'll have two focuses or two functions in that same space. The approximate ongoing maintenance cost for the facility is $600,000, and the approximate cost with all the tenant improvement is estimated at $52 million. We're estimating this at a pretty high rate or a conservative rate because, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of warehouse space that can be developed. The warehouse ceilings are up to 60 feet tall. So while we'll look at building one-story building in there, they need to be built strong enough so that we could possibly house another structure on top of that if the space requirements evolve in the future. So the ability to add space would be critical, and it's good for future planning. We're here today to talk about possibly getting $18 million from CCP 109 funds to help fund this process. And then Yacel has some background and some information on the 109 fund and trust. I'm going to turn over to Yacel.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you to the County Administrative Office for being such good partners throughout this project. Yacel Salapa with the Probation Department. I'm going to go over the fiscal implications of the ask that is being requested today, the summary of the AB 109 funds available. In your packet, you see two different boxes, one to the left and one to the right. The box to the left shows the current projections as if things continue as usual. This assumes a 9% year-over-year growth. And as usual with CCP funds, I'd like to place two different columns, one with 100% of the budget expended and one with 95% of the budget expended. Historically, CCP spends about 92 to 95% of its budget every year. If you look on the left side, right now we are anticipating to end the fiscal year with $52.9 million in fund balance. And going forward, that fund balance continues to stay relatively the same. What's important to note here is that back on the last presentation, the growth was estimated around $350,000. That was because of the Department of Finance estimating that only roughly $20 million of growth statewide was going to be received. With the enactment of the state budget and the May revise, that amount went up to $64.5 million statewide. Historically, Fresno County receives between 3 to 3.4% of that growth. So at the 2.95%, which is what we normally receive on our normal allocation, CCP would see a growth of around 1.9 million. Now you see 1.7 million because out of the 1.9, we have to subtract 10% to go to the local innovation fund, and that leaves us with the 1.7 year over year. Now the Department of Finance is also estimating that going forward, we'll see about a 3% growth as now that with the soft landing of the economy and the correction that's going to take place. So that's why you see the 1.7 growth year over year going forward. If you look to your right side, that is the same information. However, you are seeing the 200 West Pontiac project there, which would remove $18 million from the fund balance. And that would provide available funds balance for 24-25 of 34.9 million. And going forward again with the same factors, 9% year over year growth, and as well as the 3% growth of the state realignment funds. I can entertain any questions right now, or I can continue and we can save questions for later if you prefer.
Any questions yet? Go ahead, let's go ahead.
That's more, okay. So the project will comprise of moving all probation adult services to the location on Pontiac. That would be all of the AB 109 realignment units, as well as pretrial monitoring services, domestic violence, field bank, AOWP, drug suppression, also the day reporting center, and a new training unit that was developed and would hopefully we can increase to provide more in-house training. Probation is currently leasing in 4 locations out by the airport. This is a little bit inefficient for operations. We have the same services being provided at 4 different locations. So going into one location will gain a lot of efficiencies. This no longer meets the needs of the department. We've been leasing this building since 1999 with no benefit to the county. And since 2000, just to give you an idea of how much we've invested into these buildings, it's 9.1 million in leasing costs, which were incurred, and the county again remains with no equity. This will allow the department to better serve clients. not only probation clients, but it's all the law enforcement clients as well that we all. That is the end of the comments that I had. I can answer any questions if there are any.
Any comments from the CCP Executive Committee?
Maybe I'm not best at all this number stuff here. So the purchase price is 15 million, right? And then it says approximate cost with all tenant improvements is 52. How do we get from 15 to 52?
So 15 is the purchase price that was negotiated, I believe an item went to the board a month or two ago with the seller, and that is just for the building as is. The 52 million includes the tenant improvements for the entire facility. Let me go back. Most of the facility is warehouse space, as you see right here. So that will have to be converted into office space. That is going to be estimated at around $500 per square foot to go ahead and get that done. The current space up here is already office space that is going to be left as is. And the budget for that is around $150 a square foot for that conversion.
Okay, so my question is, this is all fine and well that we can put in $18 million. I'm assuming the 15.73 is going to go to the purchase price with the remainder here doing something. Where's the rest of the money coming to get to the 52 million?
So the 15.73 million, that's going to come out of Prop 172. I believe there's an item coming to the board correct me if I'm wrong, next board meeting to make that purchase. After that, 18 million, and let me just give you some background how we came up with that 18 million. So currently probation, AB 109 activities encompass 39.8% of our footprint, of our 65,000 square foot
So
footprint.
you said
39.8% of our leased facilities are exclusively for realignment purposes. So if you do that same number at the total anticipated cost of the project, you're looking at about $22 million. So the ask of $18 million was to be also fiscally prudent, taking consideration the fund balance for CCP. Now, there's going to be Prop 172 monies put into this project, as well as any of the funding sources that are available through probation and some local, I forgot what the name is called, and local assistance funds.
And what is the anticipated length of time for all of those monies? We're also not going to be able to do.
Correct. This process will go through a design build process. So we'll have to obtain architecture, contractor, things along those lines. So it'll be several years to complete the project. For a point of clarification, the 52 million includes the 15 million purchase price as well. That's the total cost of the purchase or the total estimated cost of the purchase and the build out.
And that also includes the 18 million that potentially we're asking for today?
Correct.
Right. I think one thing for clarity, Isel, when you talk about that 39% footprint of AB 109, when we look at, all of the services in these 4 buildings that we're working on now, CCP funding can still pay for those other services besides the AB 109, because all of the other operations that are going to be done out of these, whether it be adult offender work program, adult regular probation services that are being done, pretrial, all these other things that are happening, CCP funding or AB 109 funding can also fund those things as well.
Okay, so just so I understand, because I'm probably the least mathematical person up here, the 52 encompasses the 15.7 and the 18, which leaves a rough balance of about 18 or 19 million that is still going to be needed to be funded over the course of the project.
Yeah, it's
correct?
actually, that's correct. It's 13 million.
13?
Yeah.
I told you I wasn't good at math. Okay.
And we are working with the CAO's office on making sure, because there are some funding sources that probation does have the ability to be able to put towards the amount of the purchase and the tenant improvement. So over the next 3 to 4 years, working with the CAO's office, our plan is to make sure that we can make up that over the next 3 or 4 years. Question, Chief.
Quick question. The 600,000 annually for maintenance, what's that for exactly?
Will be going forward, once the building's operational, how much probation expects to see as far as the annual maintenance for the building?
So if you look at that over the last 23 years, in comparison to your lease costs, it's actually a lot more expensive. So the lease cost you have at 9.1 million.
Mm-hmm.
If you break this out, it's like 13.8. So just
Oh,
Just looking at
but that is just for lease payments. That doesn't include maintenance.
okay. So that is
And on,
separate.
yeah,
Okay.
that's completely separate, yeah.
All right. Perfect.
I have a question. Oh,
I
Sheriff.
had one question. I was doing the math there. So $600,000 annually for your maintenance. Is that including your PG&E, everything out the door?
Yeah, that cost is for groundskeeping, any maintenance on HVACs, anything of that nature, and utilities.
Okay, because being with the county for 26 years, I do appreciate the comment in there about paying over almost $10 million to lease buildings. And I think it's a great idea to start buying buildings instead of making other people rich, especially when we're the kind of tenants that pay our bills. But as far as the math goes, what Lisa was commenting on, if your purchase price is, we'll just call it 16,000, total cost is 52, we're giving 18. My math shows that there's still a balance of $18,000. Is that 18 million? Sorry.
Yeah, well, it's mine. I mean, I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me, but our spreadsheet that calculates this shows 13 million is the remaining balance. There's also funding that's not on the slide from the local assistance funding that we're
Okay.
going to contribute for the EOC build out as well. But is 13 million correct?
Yeah, so to answer some of those questions, so there's going to be 18.7 million of Prop 172, 18 million if approved of Community Corrections Partnership. And by the way, I'm going by memory, so bear with me here.
Well, that makes it up right there. I thought you were doing 15.7 million of Prop 172.
no.
So if you're going 18.7, you take the remaining 3, so you got about, yeah, okay. That makes sense, thank you.
And then we're also going to be using some SB 678 funds just from within probation. We have some capital project funds left over, and we also have some backfill funds that we can allocate to this as well.
Maybe, so you can answer this. So is the plan for probation to phase in as the tenant improvements are made and to just move department by down all those legal issues or anything that will prevent or cause any issues with early termination of leases or anything like that that's going to end up costing the county more money?
Correct. That is exactly what the plan is. Fortunately, most of our leases are set to end in 2025, beginning of 2025. So we're at that time where that is an option. If not, most of the leases have a way to get out with a 90-day notice.
So you mentioned about design build, and so my questions are more operational as we look to be more upstream as a community and rely less on correctional personnel and more on rehabilitation and treatment. Are you looking to design space for community partners to deliver treatment services and rehabilitation services and family resilience? What does the operational plan look like for that?
Yes, that is the intent. Currently, we have 65,000 square feet going up to the 100,000 square feet that will allow us to provide more space for programming, which we currently do not have, for outreach, for a lot of different things that we currently just don't have the space to provide.
Yeah, what we'll do, Susan, is we already have plans because the Day Reporting Center, which is currently co-located with us on one of our buildings on Winery, was going to go into the jail once the jail was done, but it's actually going to follow us over to Pontiac now. And so those services will be there on site. We'll also have treatment space so that we can do vocational training type orientation. The probation department also does its own CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy programming as well. So there will be built-in space for those kind of things as well.
That helps a lot. I think, as a CCP, historically, we've not invested a lot of our dollars for very reasonable reasons in the treatment continuum or the kind of upstream rehabilitative services. And so this would, if we're able to do that with these tenant improvements, I think that would make I think that would be a really good investment.
Yeah, and we saw that really how important that was going to be. You know, I think for a lot of reasons, the location serves us well to be able to do and put that additional 35,000 square feet or so to be able to do some innovative things with those spaces. Also, the proximity to Department of Social Services, because we have, of course, common clients that would be helpful for our folks. I think we have an opportunity to do something more than we do now, because like you still talked about, being able to consolidate these 4 spaces, when we think about staffing and the struggles that we've had in the county, to be able to staff 1 space instead of 4 is going to make a big difference there. The opportunity for us to provide other kind of services to our clients, like a clothing closet, opportunity for us to partner with the food bank to do some food delivery things that are out there. Staff wellness center, something that we've not ever had a chance to really be able to do. You know, those kind of things for staff as well. So you think about the roughly 14,000 folks that we serve in some capacity. In the county, about 10,000 of those are adult related, whether it be formal supervision, pretrial, adult offender work program, and to be able to have all these on site, I think is going to make a big difference.
Kurt, just a quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Just a quick comment and then a question. So just from my perspective as CAO, this is continuing a trend of moving from this old way of doing business, of leasing facilities and showing nothing for it. Eventually, we're going to own the RAL building. I look forward to that day, but that's something we're working towards. We've got a sheriff's substation that's coming forward, and we want more of those kind of projects that, frankly, people who come way after us are going to look and say they're thankful that we made this historic investment. So I highly recommend the action that we're taking today. I think it's prudent. The one question I had for you, Sal, was on the projections that you showed when it came to both growth and expenses. Would you say those are conservative?
Yes, right now those are very conservative. They were estimating 64.5 million of growth. We won't know the exact number until about December 15th. That's when the deposit comes in for the growth. However, on the last payment in August, 93 million was needed to make the whole state whole. Prior receipts, prior collections up to that month were coming in around 170, 180 statewide. So therefore, I do believe that 64.5 million will be met, and hopefully a little bit higher than that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the executives? Anything else from Lucille or from Ed? Thank you. So I would entertain a motion to approve the request for funding for the 200 West Pontiac project.
I would be happy to make that motion, and I would like to make a comment with that motion. Is I have looked at this project, and I have also been employed in the law enforcement community in this county for 22 years, and I could not think of a better investment for the county for AB 109 funding than to go to the probation department. This is a department that serves not only the criminal justice system as a whole, it serves victims, it serves defendants, it addresses mental health, addresses recidivism. It is a partner to the DA's office, a partner to the public office, partner to mental health, partner to the sheriff. So I wholeheartedly am grateful that I could be a part of this and happy to make this motion. Chief.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We've had a motion and a second, and we'll do a roll call vote. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, public comment. Is there any public comment in regard to this item before we go on to the vote? All right, seeing none, we'll come back to the dais and we'll have our roll call vote.
Chief Haynes,
Yes.
Chief Fleming,
Yes.
Director Holt,
Yes.
DA Smitcamp,
Yes.
Sheriff Zanoni,
Yes.
PD Tylack,
Yes.
carries.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And we were going to ask for any public comment that